Councillor Perks to speak.
Thank you, Speaker. I do have a couple of motions. First, I'd like to add a clause to 3. This is where we have the save and accept clauses in terms of how to find the savings. I want to add a new H, avoid the TTC fare increase above the rate of inflation. Next, I have a motion to avoid cuts to bus, streetcar, SRT, and subway routes. And finally, I have a motion to avoid impacting the quality of life of Toronto community housing tenants. The word efficiency has gone, in my view, from something very positive and helpful in our political lexicon through to sort of imaginary thinking and wishful thinking to something that's actually now quite toxic. Let's step back and remember what it is to learn how to do things more efficiently. It's not something that you simply tell someone, go and do. It's something you say to people, let's see how this service that you deliver now can be delivered differently in a way that costs less money. And I'm all for that because I think we actually need to be providing better services to Torontonians. And I understand there's a limited amount of money, and the only way to do it is to do things more cost effectively, more efficiently. An example of how we did that was the introduction of 311. We took a whole lot of public servants who had to answer the phone off the corner of their desk with citizen questions, and that would interfere with their workday, and it wasn't very efficient. So we consolidated all of that, all those different places in the city where people were taking calls from residents, trained a group of people to be able to answer multiple questions and get things done. And now we spend a lot less money on public servants taking calls from the public. The thing we forget is that that wasn't the result of someone writing a budget direction saying cut each department by an amount of money. That was a deliberate effort on the part of council and the public service working to first invest some new money. We had to do that so that we could consolidate work and deliver better public service. That's a true example of figuring out how to do things efficiently. Telling departments merely just cut X amount, absorb inflation and cut X amount year after year after year after year doesn't create those opportunities for consolidation and better business process. What it does is just tell people do more with less, work harder, do more with less, work harder, do more with less, work harder, 27 times in a row now, I think, going back to pre-amalgamation budgets at Metro. And we're starting to see the consequence of that. The direct services to Torontonians are getting ragged and torn. You heard questions of the chief planner about how community planning exercises, not managing development applications, that's a separate problem, but community planning exercises are being put off year after year after year. I'm sure all of you have had the experience of starting a secondary plan or an avenue study just to have it put off for another 6 months, and then another 6 months, and then another 6 months. You've had the experience of having to explain to people that the services in your community center, well, that program that used to be there isn't going to be there anymore, or the fee has gone up, and coincidentally gone up more than inflation. So simply telling people to work harder and get more done isn't actually thinking about how to deliver government more efficiently. That doesn't work. I want to turn now to the specific motions that I moved on the TTC. I opened my morning paper today, I still do that, to read the remarks from the Mayor about how it was so urgent that we make a transit investment into Scarborough so that we can create jobs. And that's fair and reasonable too. But in questions, I asked the Mayor, would you protect transit fares from going up faster than inflation? And he said, no, I don't want to wrap that around it. I just want to wrap the property tax increase around it. Well, we heard from Mr. Roto from the TTC that every time you increase transit fares by 1%, so let's say we do 1%, you lose 0.1% of the ridership. If we did that with a 2% number, which is the inflationary number, that means we would lose 1 million rides in the TTC next year. 1 million rides. And that's just at inflation. That's 1 million people who are not participating in economic growth in the city the way the mayor feels is so urgent on the Scarborough subway. If you want to build this system, build the city, you will not support arbitrary directions to cut. What you will do is protect the services that make neighborhoods and the city's economy work.
Thank you.